More moving parts in college football, and I want to read you right now what the College Football Playoff had to say today, releasing this. It's a little awkward because somebody who's the chair of this thing is at Iowa, and guess who ain't playing football this year? We don't know right now what the season will bring, but as a committee, we are ready to use the protocol and expertise of the 13 people who have been charged with selecting the teams, said Gary Barta, athletics director at the University of Iowa. The committee's task is to rank teams based on what happens on the field this week. Gave us a great chance to catch up, blah, 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 blah. Here is the critical punchline here. The final selection committee rankings of the 2020 season will be released on Selection Day Sunday, December 20th. The committee will also announce the matchup for the playoff semifinals at the Rose Bowl game and the All-State Sugar Bowl. We have a college football playoff. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. What does this mean? To me, it means that this is a legitimate college football season now. It just doesn't have meaningful input from the Big Ten. And if you want to say from Oregon in the Pac-12. So it's really an unfortunate thing. No, I do not see those two conferences changing their mind. But when you read what the College Football Playoff Committee says, they are basically saying, listen, we're not dealing with the discussion of it not happening right now. We're going to plan like we're moving forward. It's August. We'll see y'all in December. Well, we'll see y'all in October probably. Now, one thing that's kind of curious here is when do they really start unleashing their weekly their weekly rankings? I read it kind of quick because this just happened, but it didn't say that I saw. The selection committee will reviewed its weekly ranking announcements, went over its protocol, blah blah blah. So they don't really say when they'll start releasing those. But of course, that is for a lot of palace intrigue. It is kind of interesting during the season to see who's in the top 4 or whatever. But this is going to be a crazy Christmas season because you're going to have the championship games on, I guess the 12th or 19th. Like, we don't even know that. Like, we sort of know. And then, college football playoff is going to be on that Sunday the 20th, 5 days from Christmas. You could have some very upset people. Like, normally that's 2 weeks earlier almost than when they're releasing it now. So the couple of takeaways here are that, first of all, college football playoff not going would have been a huge problem for college football. It would have made the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 really look not good. Okay? Secondly, then on top of that, I think this gives a legitimacy that you would not have had without it. First of all, where would you have played the game for the national championship? Like, we know where it is now. I've forgotten what it is off the top of my head. But you would have known, you would know where, you wouldn't even know where you're playing. Could the Sugar Bowl host a national championship game if there was no college football playoff, or would the college football playoff prevent them from doing it? Or could the people in New Orleans just throw a game together, not call it the Sugar Bowl? They're good at that, by the way. They know what they're doing down there. And just say, hey, it's a national championship. And that's what they did when this all started going nuts in 2000, what was that, 12? They formed a championship game, a bowl game or whatever. It was a Big 12 and the SEC, and they said, look, see y'all. And that was the Sugar Bowl. They just didn't call it that. So that's something I think that is important to remember here, is that college football can be flexible. Now they don't have to be. I'm sure Gary Stokan and company in Atlanta, Chick-fil-A Bowl, would have loved to have hosted a national championship no matter the circumstances. They loved it in the 2017 season championship. But when you're in these agreements, you don't want to make people angry when the agreement's going really well. Would you really want to sabotage your situation if you're the SEC, ACC, the Peach Bowl, Cotton, or Orange Bowl? I was talking with a friend about this earlier who's been in the ball game for a while, and my statement to him is if we didn't have this, the best positioned group would be the Citrus Bowl because they're not in the college football playoff bowl game selection criteria group, but they're a big bowl. They're in a warm weather place. They could have done it, but it would have set off a mad scramble. But you can't tell me that the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 didn't know that this was going to happen. I've noticed more and more lately that I keep screwing up Big 12 and Big 10. It is confusing considering the members of each group don't match the number in their name. And that's the old joke, but still. I think this makes you move forward. It says, hey, look, we're good. This is a legitimate college football season. And honestly, I'm going to say that now. I'm going to know that that's not 100% true. But it is, we're here. And, the world is moving on. I understand why the Big Ten and Pac-12 did what they did. Pac-12, did what they did. I also understand the SEC, ACC, and Big 12. There are a lot of moving parts in this medically. I'm not smart enough to know what the right answer is, and apparently I'm not the only one. So I get what they're doing. But these three schools are moving, these three conferences are moving forward. This is not a great sign for spring football. It doesn't kill it, but it's like, the world is moving on in terms of college football, and it just seems to me like you're not going to have three national champions in a 12-month and one-day period. That's not going to happen. So if the Big Ten and Pac-12 play in the spring, they certainly can conduct conference championships, and then the winners of those two can go really good play in Pasadena. I don't see what prevent them from doing that. But even that would be a little bit tricky, honestly. They couldn't use the road. I mean, it gets really dicey when you start trying to figure out how to do something. You can call it the Rose Bowl Stadium. Could you really call it the Rose Bowl game? That's above my head. I'm not certain that you could. But this does mean to me that this is a legitimate season and that we're moving forward. And whoever claims their national championship this time, unlike Alabama from the 60s, 50s, and 40s and UCF in 2017, this is going to be a legitimate national champion, and no one's going to be able to take that away from whoever they are when they win it. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. You see the 2020 playlist, and I see that you're clicking it. I don't have to even tell you anymore. Thanks for watching. Monday, practice starts at Georgia.